So today I'm going to talk about props, which is why I have a prop in my hand. This is the most important prop that you are going to want to have. This is a whiteboard. The second most important prop you're going to want to have is little pieces of paper that, that's it. Just prints out pieces of paper that are cut up. And the second most important is a puppet whose mouth moves. You can just use a sock. So those are like the three most important props. The number one is a whiteboard. So if you live in Jamaica, you can get a whiteboard from any Chinese store for probably I got one for $100. It's basically a piece of cardboard. It comes even with a dry erase pen. I used mine for a really long time. This is a higher quality one. It was more expensive, but this will last a long time as long as you don't scratch the surface of it. This one's also magnetic, which is really nice. But most important thing is a whiteboard, because with the whiteboard you can draw. If you don't have anything printed out, you can draw almost anything. So an apple. This pen is dead. But yeah, you can draw an apple. You can draw, A is for apple. You can draw an A. A. B. I had foam letters. I don't use my foam letters anymore. They're too annoying to go through and find the right one. So whiteboard, if you're going to have no other prop, get a whiteboard. You can get them for very cheap. Number two is little pieces of paper that you cut out. Now, these pieces of paper depend upon your lesson plan. So for me, what I did is that when I got my lesson plans ahead of time, I looked it up and I made sure, for example, we did weather. So I have a bunch of ones that represent different weather. And I do weather a lot. And even if it's not a set schedule like Cambly, weather is a great thing to talk about when you have a new student who says, I want to progress in my English above, how are you or whatever. It's pretty much the first step I do is weather. So how are you? How is the weather today? Was the weather cold? Was the weather rainy? It's also a cultural thing. Americans love to talk about weather, and someone from the Middle East doesn't have that. So you're introducing people to new concepts that don't just increase their vocabulary, but also increase their cultural awareness. And I'm realizing I'm saying this to maybe Jamaicans who don't talk about weather, but you should probably know rainy, sunny, overcast, things like that, because they're important for people to learn if you want to travel. So, this one's really universal. This is, what do you do for fun? What do you do after school? Do you like Chelsea? Do you watch the sports? I don't know anything about football, but I ask people a lot about it. So just print out, maybe have a Jamaica one. Definitely have a Jamaica one so you can talk about it. This is just a baking dish. So this was $1 in America. I think you can get them for really cheap in Jamaica. Before I upgraded and got my super fancy whiteboard that's magnetic, I just used a baking dish. Now I have tiny magnets stuck on the back. You can get magnets from anywhere. Just make sure that they can stick. You glue them there or whatever. I upgraded to a roll. Ooh, I know, very fancy. That I cut up. Now, if let's say that I don't like this prop anymore, I can just peel the little magnet off the back and stick it onto the new one. So super simple, super easy, absolute must have. That's the second prop that's necessary after your whiteboard. If you get a magnetic whiteboard though, this can double because all of your little magnetic props can stick. But make sure that you print out. Vegetables are really, food is really important. Animals are really important. My kids love adventures. We will talk about adventures all day, every day. So I have probably a mountain of props just over time I've kind of accumulated, but they're very simple. They're just pieces of paper. That's it. They're not laminated. They're nothing. And they've lasted all over, up and down. I don't teach in the same location. I think I've taught in probably 30 or 40 different locations. They've moved everywhere and they last a long time. Some people go crazy overboard with lamination and all of this stuff. This is literally just, some of them aren't even card. This is cardstock, but sometimes this is just literally paper. This is nothing more, you can just print it out on paper. And then some of mine aren't even color printed. This is black and white with a highlighter. I've hand drawn a lot of mine in. That's what this is. And kids love it. So you don't have to break the bank over this. It's just print out a piece of paper, color it in if you want it colored. And then it gives you something to hold up. You really, really need something to like a chicken. One, it keeps people entertained. And two, it just helps with communication. Like you need props. So the next thing is a puppet whose mouth moves. This is great for creating dialogue. So you can just use a sock, but I'm not very good with it. I don't use it that much, but it's definitely important, especially if you have somebody who doesn't know how to answer questions, which is the first thing you need to break down when you are teaching English as a second language, like online, is like it's really hard to communicate answering a question over the scenario that you're in right now. So, hello, my name is Emily. What is your name? My name is Frank. Hi, Frank. It's nice to meet you. How are you today? I am good. Teacher Emily, how are you? How am I? I'm great, Frank. How are you? I'm great too. So it creates a dialogue between, it also makes like they, we, and when they move their mouth, it means that they're talking. So it's really important on like introduction. It's also a lot of fun. People love it. You know, it can do a lot of things. So like, what do you like to eat? I like to eat rabbit. Eat. Like it helps explain a lot of things. It can be very fun. Like, oh no, the dragon's going to come and eat you. Ah! But you can just, the reason I bring it up is because you're going to want something interactive, and you can make a talking puppet with a sock with 2 eyes on it very, very, very easily. So if you don't want to buy a puppet, you can just make one with a sock. So those are the 3 props that I highly recommend. You must have at least the first 2. Get yourself a whiteboard, and then get yourself pieces of paper printed out with various vocabulary words that you can showcase. So like cow, moo, cow. You know, how are you today? Are you angry? So that's, you need pieces of paper cut out. You need a whiteboard. Those are the 2 things, absolutely. And then do yourself a favor, make your teaching fun, and get yourself a puppet. So good luck out there. That's my brief overview when it comes to props. Thank you so much. Goodbye.